But then we get to names, which is, I don't know. This is also, I feel like it's funny, which is probably why they put this in here. But I also feel like this whole thing is kind of pointless. No,
no, Matt. I got something locked and loaded for this baby.
Yeah. Okay. All
right. Names.
What are your thoughts? Yeah.
The most popular name. It's still Bob.
Lamar.
All right. Complaint number one. Motherfucker, you didn't give us any numbers. You didn't say 5% of characters are named Bob, 10% of characters are named Bob, 95% of characters are named Bob. Motherfucker, give me a number. Don't just say the most popular. Give me a fucking stat, you sons of bitches.
Yeah, like it did with the other one where it's like most growth.
Yeah.
Link at 23%.
Most growth. Link with 23%. Serafina with 18%. Lyra with 6%.
So Link I can understand because the new Zelda game came out this year. I don't know what the other two are from though. I'm not
I don't know what the other two are, but they definitely remind me of some, like they sound like they're from something. But it doesn't really matter. And then this one, most declined.
Yeah, this is a weird one.
Bruno, Eddie, and Rando. I think it's funny that Rando declined.
I like that Rando. Yeah, I like that Rando's a name because that would also be like a NPC name you would give somebody.
Yeah, just,
you're like, Rando.
Rando Randerson. Okay, why? So the Bob thing. What do I think is really interesting about Bob? So this stat on its own, maybe not that interesting, but in combination with a stat, with the two stats after it, I think tells us a lot. I think that the fact that Bob is the most popular name, again, really tells us about the kind of players we have / we are getting on D&D Beyond. Because why is Bob the most popular name? Because if you're generic white man in America and you're trying to think of generic default name, you're generally going to think of Steve or Bob.
Or John.
Or like maybe John, right? Like those are your generic white man names. And Bob sounds kind of funny. So a lot of people are like, hee, name my character Bob. Because again, like I said with the player level, the kinds of characters we're getting, not characters, the kinds of players we're getting, the kinds of players we're getting on D&D Beyond are new players. Like,
yeah, so they don't want to roll on the table.
They don't want to think about it. They don't want to roll on the table. They're like, fuck it. He's a fighter named Bob. I don't care.
Make a quick character. B.O.B.
Literally, what's happening here, right? What is this? It's funny because it seems like this is a really innocuous data point, but I think this one actually tells us a lot. What's happening here? You know, Jim, the GM, who's been running D&D for 5 years, wants to get his fucking girlfriend into D&D or whatever. I know GMs don't normally have girlfriends, but, you know, let's just pretend for a moment, if we will. Jim, the GM wants to get his girlfriend fucking Morticia or fucking Periwinkle or Lyra or some shit, because you know a GM's dating some crazy bitches. Did I just call myself out?
I would say you want to keep going.
Yeah, did I just call myself out? I might have. Anyway. Shit, I lost my train of thought now. Fuck. And, you know, he says to Morticia, hey, I really want you to try out D&D. And she's like, all right, fine. I guess I'll try. She's like, I don't really want to. She doesn't want to put the energy in. She's like, this is a lot of work. There's a lot of fucking rules or whatever. She's like, Jim, can I make this easier? And Jim says, I got you, Morticia. I don't know why I went with this one. I got you, Morticia. Use D&D Beyond. And she goes, okay, I'll use this. It does most of the work for you because that's what D&D Beyond's for. And lo and behold, she makes a human fighter and goes, he needs a name. I don't know, Bob. And that's it, because she's not really that emotionally invested. Now, granted, if she gets really invested in this first campaign, her first character will be named Bob, but you know her second character is going to be named Thrognir, the Blazing Flame, Lord of the Seven Hells, Elven Warrior of the Gods, because that's always how it goes.
A name on D&D Beyond? Or is it
no, I'm saying in like a second campaign.
Oh, because I can see what people do is they put Bob as a placeholder name as well.
Oh, and then replace it? I can see that.
Yeah, then they can think about it later. You're like, all right.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, Morgan, what?
No, Morticia.
What's your
put respect on her name.
All right, sure. Like, all right, Morticia, what do you want? What do you want Bob's actual name to be? She's like,
Throndir.
Throgdir. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. You know, I honestly think that's what it is. I think it's like...
No, actually, Link. I want it to be Link.
Yeah, I want it to be Link. I just played Breath of the Wild. I want it to be Link. No, like, I really think it's... D&D Beyond is the gateway drug. And so the GMs are trying to get their friends into D&D Beyond. Or into D&D. And so they use D&D Beyond to make the experience easier. And, you know, I think a lot of people... This is a theory. I am not a social scientist, so I have no way to collect this data as much as I would love to. But I have a theory that a lot of people come to D&D treating it like a board game and looking at it through the lens of board games, because tabletop is this weird, unique thing that's really hard to explain and understand. So the closest thing you people have is board games, right? So if you're playing a board game, right, or a card game like Munchkin or something like that, you know, or you're playing Talisman, and they're like, you should name your character to get more invested. You know, it doesn't really matter what you name your character in fucking Talisman. I don't actually know if Talisman tells you to do this, but let's pretend. It doesn't matter what you call your character in Talisman. So you're just going to be like, whatever, he's Bob. You know, like, it's fine. I'm just going to play Bob. Because you're not emotionally invested in your character, because it's not really your character. You're just playing a board game, and you're going to play for 2 or 3 hours, and then you're going to all stop because you're too hammered to keep playing or whatever. And then you're going to do something else. D&D is a much deeper emotional investment, but you don't know that if you haven't played D&D. So what happens? You go, okay, it's kind of like a board game. Oh, I need to name my character? I don't know, Bob's the first thing that came to mind. I'll just call him Bob. It's fine. And then you play Bob for 53 sessions. All of a sudden, Bob has the traumatic backstory and a deeply lived life where he loved his wife, and then she was stolen and killed by a dragon. And now the other players are taking revenge on the dragon to avenge Bob's dead wife and save the kingdom. And next thing you know, you're crying over Bob because then he died fighting the dragon, and nobody had a wish spell or a resurrection or anything. And it's just, you know, but you don't know any of that's going to happen when you first start playing. So you do dumb shit like name your character Bob. So it's just this. I know this sounds like an insane rant about the most popular name being Bob, but like I really think this is actually kind of interesting. This is kind of interesting because it really tells us, I think, who's using D&D Beyond. And granted, Matt, for sure, I think you're right. A certain degree of people are using it as a placeholder name. I absolutely think that's the thing. But I bet you money a lot of people are just playing Bob the Human Fighter.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you don't know, because you don't know what you're getting into the first time you play D&D unless you've like watched a lot of actual plays or someone's explained it to you really well. But most people don't explain it very well because it's kind of hard to explain. So you come in, you don't know what's going on, you're not that emotionally invested, so you make Bob the Human Fighter, and then you just kind of see what happens. But then your next character is Lord Darkamond, fucking Bane of the Seven Hells, Warrior Prince of Avernus, because you're really invested in that second. Literally, this is literally what Critical Role did. I just want to point this out. Critical Role, first campaign, all the characters are like kind of goofy, haha. Second, I mean, Jesus Christ, the fucking Travis's character is named Grog. My man named it after beer. No, sorry, rum. Grog is rum.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of goofy, haha nonsense. Campaign 2, everyone's playing the deep, dark backstory edgelord. Like, it happens all over and over and over again. It's crazy. It's hilarious. And then Link, I mean, yeah, Link is just because people think Link is cool, and Link kind of feels like a D&D character. So,
yeah. Well, again, the game came out that year, so.
Well, that too, but I think Link's always been popular because he's Link. You know, like it's Link. I mean, I even said when we did our fighter episode, my quintessential fighter was Link, and I don't even like Zelda. So, you know, it's Link. The other names, I don't know what's going on with those. Brando on the decline is kind of funny though.
That's funny. Yeah.
That one's funny. All right, rant over now. I know that was an insane rant about Bob, but I had to say something.
I didn't really have anything else to really say or add to this meme.
I know, and I just went on for 5 minutes.
Interesting. Yeah, it's all good.
I don't know. I saw it, and I was like, this is fascinating.